Wrong one. I didn't hit the commercial.
Actually, no, that's weird. He said that because I never did.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft. What? Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. It's how shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. What's the problem? Just leave. Leave. As we previously stated in the thumbnail or whatever, we are Christians.
We are.
And we are about to listen to the blackest metal. That's what I call it.
The darkest of all.
The darkest of the darkness.
I'm listening to it with a black man.
Where's Biden?
Yeah.
Where's Biden? I don't know if I'm black enough for Mr. Biden.
So we have a stream tonight. As you can see, this is the alliances. I am actually going to give you guys the link to the shows that are posted for, whoops, that's actually the Rumble link to this show. Never mind. I'm going to give you guys the link so you guys can find which shows are planned for this month. And you'll be able to know what's going on. Let's check out what we have. What's going on? We have an alliance stream. That means a group of folks on Patreon get together on our Discord forum, and they figure out what songs they do different.
They do contests
and
yeah. Every alliance is different though.
Every alliance is different.
So they get together and they figure out what songs they're going to react to. And this is one of those nights where the night is dedicated to our patrons. So I just want to put out a special thank you to our patrons. Some of you guys have been with us since damn near the beginning of all of this.
Yeah,
and that's crazy. We've been throwing around some different ideas of how we can find little ways to thank you guys. Also, I think we have a fun thing we're still talking about, but there might be something coming around the pike for you guys. We actually have a couple things that we
got a couple ideas. We're stringing them out.
Yes. So tonight, though, is XU, and I think it's the True Cult, but it actually is not listed right here. TK.
Really?
True Cult. There it is.
Yeah, TK's True Cult. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So the first song on our list, if I can get a timestamp.
8 minutes.
8 minutes.
Exactly.
All right. The first song is from the Extreme Underground, whose leader is Kellandros. Kellandros.
One thing. She's gonna post a link to see what streams are coming in the chat.
Yeah. I'm gonna grab that after we.
Gotcha.
You know.
This freaking thing is killing me. Do you know where it is at all?
I'm assuming it's on the floor. It's on the floor.
Turn off the mic.
Yeah, it comes back. It's when the computer gets moved. So, do you want...
No.
Look.
You got it?
Look. Yeah, here you go. You don't have to be killed anymore.
Now we're in business.
All right, so Kellandros has a little message for us. He says, the first part of our thrash, then and now polls, where people picked a classic thrash band pre-2000s and then a modern thrash band post-2000s. This couplet of songs comes to us from Prog Pro, who for his classic thrash band... Oh, shout out to Prog Pro. Classic
What's
thrash
his name?
Prog Pro.
Prog Pro.
You remember Pogs?
Hello, Prog Pro. Continue.
It reminded me of Pogs. I loved those things. I thought it would be so cool to have a big collection. Did you have Pogs when you were a kid? Those little chips that had pictures on them?
No.
Dang it. So Prog Pro for who his classic thrash band selected one of my favorites in Swiss technical thrash legends, Coroner. This song is from their fourth studio Vortex. Thrash Then Now is Thrash Then, and then after we're gonna do
Got you.
every time you tap any night. Puts it out. Now it's not returned.
Yep, there it is.
All right. I'm going to send you the lyrics. This is Semtex Revolution. I was going to say 800, but that was actually the timestamp.
Semtex Revolution. All right, let's do it. Here we go. Song numero uno.
Extreme Underground.
Extreme Underground. Let's do it. But that sounds like the one, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That sounds like some Metallica one. Okay, back to the thrash goodness. Sorry, guys. You know me. I got no. What do you call that?
Self-control.
Self-control.
He's got something to say.
I have no self-control. Okay, here we go. Semtex. I like this.
Hand on trigger, phantom face. Don't trust no one. Always on the run. Eyes all over. Never safe. Virus like. Merciless. I left alone. Erase my
Who is this guitarist? Who's the guitar here? All right, rhythm change. Here we go.
Hand on trigger, phantom face. Don't trust no one. Always on the run. Eyes all over. Never safe. Virus like. Merciless. My way is fast. I hit and run. Won't leave no trace. I am a sniper. The sights are set.
And the first unconfirmed reports say the president was hit in the head. That's an unconfirmed report that the president was hit in the head. It's official now. The president is dead.
Okay.
Okay. Talk about art imitating life. That was, what was the name of that band?
Coroner, I think?
Coroner.
Coroner.
Call the
Semtex
coroner.
Revolution.
They even heard about the crib, about your mom down in Florida, the fifth corridor. Call the coroner. There's gonna be a lot of slow singing and flower bringing if my burger alarm starts ringing. What you think all the guns is for? All-purpose war got the Rottweilers by the door. And I feed them gunpowder so they can devour the criminals trying to drop my decimals. Damn, niggas trying to stick me for my cream and it ain't a dream. Shit ain't always what it seemed. It's the one that smokes sunk with you, see your picture, now they want to grab their guns and come and get you. I bet you Vinny won't slip. I got the calico with the black talons loaded in the clip so I can rip through your ligaments, put your body in a bad predicament where all the foul people went. Touch my cheddar, I feel my Beretta buck when I'ma hit you with you motherfuckers better duck. I've been praying blood stains on what remains of his jacket. He had a gun and should have packed it, cocked it, extra clip in my pocket so I can reload and explode on your asshole. I fuck around and get hardcore. C4 to your door, no beef, no more, nigga. All right. Having said that,
Vinny
now
does
we
this-
got it all out here.
Yeah, Vinny does this with his friends. You know, sometimes we'll be driving in the car and Vinny will just like bust out rapping.
He said Tupac.
No.
No. How dare you say that to me? All right, guys, here we go. This song is very interesting because I think it's out of the bag now, right? That we can say this now. The agency killed Kennedy.
Apparently.
Are we? I think everybody's like. Are we calibrated on that, or are there still
you
people
still
that?
thinking that's a conspiracy theory?
Yeah, like like the moon landing or something like that.
Yeah.
Or Epstein
Tinfoil hat.
Epstein killing himself or whatever.
Right.
They tore me down. They threw me out. They shut my mouth. They enslaved my mind. They blocked my way, holding me back with their stupid game. Hand on trigger, phantom face. Don't trust no one. Always on the run. Eyes all over, never safe. Virus like merciless. I left the row, erased myself, designed my plan. What year did this song? What year did this song come out, Kel? I definitely see like I said, Metallica's won like the last 3 minutes of that song. Like, I mean, obviously there's some variation, but I'm just wondering what year it would be.
Bro, you know what I thought when I started hearing this song? It sounds
91.
like... Do you realize that it's not just... Like, cults are everywhere.
Yes.
It's not just religious. It can be anything. And like, religious people will look at... And they'll be like, oh, like, the Satanists, those are the cults.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Satanists will say, I mean, look at those people. They're very cultish over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody points to everybody else, but... Like, they tore me down, they threw me... Imagine if somebody was saying this about a church. They shut my mouth, they enslaved my mind, they blocked my way, holding me back with their stupid game. Like, so this guy's... it sounds to me like he's in some sort of, you know, agency or something. And he's a sniper in that situation. In the end, he's the one that kills the president. Is that what you're getting from it?
Oh, so you're incarnating as Lee Harvey Oswald. Because that's the guy who supposedly killed Kennedy.
That's what I was getting from it.
Nah, I think I just interpreted this as like Kennedy's ghost, basically. Talking about...
He said, I am a sniper. The signs I set are painted in deepest red.
Where's that? Yeah, I think the end, definitely. I think the end is definitely about that. But if you... Unless... Lee... Some of this is like... I mean... Lee Harvey Oswald is the killer. Okay, so... Alright, we'll just go with that. I'll talk to you later. Okay, so let's go with Lee Harvey Oswald. Okay, so here's the thing about Lee Harvey Oswald. He had connections. This is documented. This is not conspiracy shit. He had connections to, Cuba, anti-American sentiment, that type of thing. There's speculations that he was actually a double agent for the agency, right? So like you're acting like you're a defector, but you're really, see what I'm saying? So there's just a lot of like back and forth on him, as in the impossibility of him taking the shot and all the rest of it, and how that relates to the Magruder film, which...
The impossibility of the shot. Oh, as in how it landed, it couldn't have been in that trajectory or something like that?
The angles, that dude's rifle quals didn't look like he was like, that good of a shot. I mean, it wasn't an impossible shot, but it was,
I think you'd get your best if you were going to do something that scandalous.
Yeah,
kill the president.
And like I said, like before 9/11, that was the big like national moment that everybody kept going back to, was Kennedy.
Yeah.
It's such a big thing. I remember like...
Oh, I remember...
Right before 9/11 happened,
a lot too.
There was this big like Kennedy with the Magruder film. I think Kevin Costner was in it. So like prior to 9/11, like that's how good we had it in America, that we had to look 30, 40 years in the past at an assassination for some national trauma instead of what we're dealing with every day now, which is just nothing but...
It's crazy because we weren't massacring our own people at that point either. The school shootings and you go to some event, some national event or something, and then there's an active shooter. Like, these things weren't happening.
Right.
So it was truly a different world. Yeah.
So another theory is that, again, this is explicitly stated now. The MK Ultra program.
Yeah.
Was where they would take LSD, among other things, and use that in concert with hypnosis to get folks to do pretty much whatever they wanted them to do. There's one book that was approved. It's called The Ring of Honor, and it talks about the second fatality in the MK Ultra program. Dude threw himself out of a window like 80 feet. So like between the LSD and the hypnosis, they were able to pretty much make these people do whatever they wanted them to do.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people are speculating that Lee Harvey Oswald was one of those MK Ultra candidates. It's come out Charles Manson was working heavy with the CIA. Like, this shit is crazy, bro. It's absolutely crazy. So they tore me down, they threw me out, they shut my mouth, they enslaved my mind, they blocked my way, holding me back with their stupid game, hand on trigger, phantom face, don't trust no one, always on the run, eyes all over, never safe, virus-like merciless. I left the royal race myself, designed my plan. Now I revolt. I just say no. I do reject and don't let it go. I serve the revolution in a different way. My thought are radical, and I don't hesitate to slay. My way is fast, and I hit and run, won't leave no trace. I'm a sniper, the side-type panner, deepest red. Okay, so, yeah, it looks like he's, like, bound and determined. He's going to try to do this assassination, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, but he
Oswald
doesn't...
definitely seemed to have been some sort of patsy. Don't know if we will ever know the full details unless it's completely declassed, and even then, can we trust it? Yeah, man, it was like that whole thing with the Pfizer thing where they wanted it like 75 years into the future to unredact the file or whatever in the FOIA.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, like, I'm telling you, man, that shit is crazy to me because,
I agree.
you know, like, the ramifications here are crazy, but I could see Mr. Oswald feeling like this was the narrative, that he was a communist, that he resented America, and that Mr. Kennedy was the embodiment of everything Mr. Oswald was against, and yada, 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 and that's why it happened. But, like, when I look at Kennedy, it's interesting because when Obama came out, there was a lot of comparisons between Obama and Kennedy, especially 2008 Obama.
Okay.
And so it was like the kind of like loyalty and like this dude was like on another level, you know, and we lived through the Obama administration, especially at the beginning. I mean, he's still controlling the party, like, as we speak. We all know that. And, you know, whatever. Congratulations to him. But now I revolt. I just say no in a different way.
Yep.
It's like this guy, like... And it's really interesting because the concept of a revolution, you say this guy's a revolutionary, blah, 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 blah. Like, that comes with, like, gallons of blood. Right? And, like... hacked up bodies and all the rest of it. Like, revolutions are bloody, horrible affairs.
Yeah, you know what? Today, like, Orion was asking me, Orion's 5, he saw an American flag. He's like, why is that flag over there like that? And so I was explaining to him that's an American flag. And then it was a really uncomfortable conversation because I started explaining to him what the flag meant. And then I was like, you know, and a lot of people had to die for our freedoms. And that's a phrase that we say so flippantly. But when I said it to him, he said, oh, so people have to get hurt so other people can be free. So I have to hurt Reza if I want to be free. I was like, no, Reza's his brother who's 3. I said, well, no.
No, that's crazy.
I was like, hold on a minute. I was like, what are these phrases that I'm just throwing out here? So I had like had to pull back. And to be honest with you, I didn't circle, like, I was a little confused at how to explain that to him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, adults get used to shit that they shouldn't.
Yeah.
And so it's like having a kid with you. It kind of helps you understand.
Because
like,
I'm like walking into the store and I'm like explaining the flag. Yeah, and you could see like other people are like, yeah, she's talking about the country, you know? And then as I said that, and when he reacted like that, and he was like, oh, okay, so people have to get hurt so other people can be free. I'll have to hurt Reza so I can be free. I was like, wait, no, hold on. Oh my gosh, we have a psychotic mentality. I was like, no, that's not. And then I kept explaining, but I don't feel like it was explained well.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's only so much one can.
Gosh.
There's only so much one can do in that situation. You know what I'm saying?
Taking
like,
off God.
That's the American way. But yeah, like, he's talking about being a revolutionary. So if you're incarnating as Osborne or Oswald, you're talking about, I did this for X and Y, Z reason. The mafia says that they killed him. Like, and in reality, it was probably a joint effort because we worked with the mob during World War II on the docks and stuff, whatever, right? So we've already set a precedent of working with those guys to accomplish certain kinds of ends. But yeah, man, like that whole story to me was crazy. Like, I remember being a kid and being like, I'm like, there's nobody protecting this dude. My mom was like, yeah, they got Secret Service and shit, but he's like, this dude was like, I watched him
propped up in an open vehicle.
If there's more interest in the Kennedy thing, there is a really interesting documentary about it, you know. So if there's like some Kennedy further, like maybe we can go through that documentary together because the shit that they're saying is insane.
Really?
Yeah, just absolutely crazy. Like the dude, it was interesting because it was a black guy in the Secret Service and they were asking about Dr. King and he basically said, no, the story for Dr. King is exactly the story for Dr. King. Like that's exactly what happened. But with Kennedy, there's a whole bunch of fluky shit that happened that this guy was, and he's credentialed, he was in the Secret Service, and he got pretty emotional about it. Shit happened like 50, 60 years, maybe 70 years, I don't know, but happened a long time, like forever ago, you know what I'm saying? He's still emotional about it. So that guy, I was like, So we might look at that one too, because it's just crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like, this one's tough. Revolution always have faces, but the people who really perpetuate them are the ones behind the scenes really doing some nasty work. It's a bloody business. It really is.
Well, that's why it ends the way it does. I'm a sniper. The signs I set are painted in deepest red.
Yeah. Really, these assassinations happened, you know, at the really pivotal moments. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you got Kennedy. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are real turning points in American history where black people were getting freedom and things like that.
Oh my gosh.
Kennedy was by no means a white savior, but he also put us on the track that we're at right now.
Mm-hmm. Right. The drink.
Yeah, like he put us on the track that we're on right now, and for that you got to give him.
So props. That's why you believe he was assassinated?
What?
Because civil rights type things.
I think he was assassinated because the folks in the agency, like the lifers, are not elected representatives of people. And so when you have a president who's only around max 8 years, but I've got a 20-year career, I'm not really going to listen to you about a lot of shit because you're going to be gone. Mm-hmm. And then if you're not gone, you're going to be spending all your time, money, and effort and energy in getting reelected again. And then if you get reelected again, whatever you say to me is fine because you're never going to have power again. See what I'm saying? So like you can get there from that direction. But yeah, man, like that one I feel like sounds like a 50-man job to me. That's what it sounds like to me. Because how you get the social engineering to allow him to be that exposed and all that, I just don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know? And again, like, this is the thing that gets me about this country. Like, I love this country. I love the freedom and aspect of it. But, like, all of us know that Epstein didn't kill himself.
Yeah.
And none of us are... And okay, so if Epstein didn't kill himself, that means that we genuinely believe that the government had a hand in murdering this dude. And no matter how nasty he was, like... You see what I'm saying? So... It's the same thing with these UAP things. These guys have been doing 20, 30 years of research, and the president's like, well, what's going on with this? And they're like, you don't need to know.
Yeah.
Like, and again, these are unelected people who are making serious decisions for 330 million people without even so much as a discussion piece. This shit is crazy.
I think the other thing too that bothers me is that if certain people protect themselves, you can end up in jail for protecting yourself.
Correct.
But then you have other people that like, okay, because you saw that Epstein should just get killed without a trial, then we're just going to be okay with this. But if we did that, we can't just make that decision, but somebody made that decision, and a lot of people are overlooking it. And the rest of us are like, yeah, that obviously happened. But again, obviously there was advantage in killing him, so names don't get out there and he doesn't go on trial. So that means we know that his execution was to protect the guilty, and we're still quiet about it.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible. What do you give this song?
I give this one an 8.6. What do you give it?
I'll give it a solid 8.8. The ode to Metallica, I liked it, but I felt like they wrote it a little too much. But other than that, man, shit was crazy. And middle, Rubu was a made man, and he agreed to Kid Oswald to cover it up. Yeah, agreed.
What do you say? A little bit is an ode. A lot of it is stealing. All right, you guys. So we just did then, and now we're gonna do now. Are you throwing up a commercial?
No, let's just do it.
Okay.
So we can get the
Yeah, I agree. So coming up now is, let me get that timestamp.
32:55. Just do 33.
All right. So this is from the Extreme Underground again, as you know.
Is that Hell?
Is Kellandros.
Kellandros and his bitch.
And he says the second part of our thrash then and now poll Prog Pro paired up classic thrash legends Coroner with Black Breath, a crossover death thrash band from Seattle. This song is from their third and possibly final. The band is on hold for now. Full-length album Slaves Beyond Death.
Slaves Beyond Death, dear
The name
listener.
so we are Black Breath is the name of the band. Wait a minute.
Is
That's
Black
interesting
Breath a super band?
because
Is it a super band,
full-length
Cal?
album- Okay, so the album is Slaves Beyond Death. The name of the band is Black Breath, and the song is Pleasure, Pain, Disease. Yikes.
Okay, can you give me those lyrics?
Yep.
All right, Pleasure, Pain, Disease. It sounds like high school. Here we go.
Jeez,
I
that
to
is.
tell ya.
Oh my
Here we
gosh.
go. Shout out to the homie. I ain't gonna say your name, bro.
Terrible.
Who is this? What? dear listener, that uplifting number was by the band
This is a band, Black Breath.
Black Breath, Pleasure, Pain, and whatever. All right, what do you got? What do you got?
Well, I guess. Well, they're talking about. I at first I thought it sounded like a psycho. You know, he wants to peel the skin. Then the second thing that I thought of course, we're Christians, so I imagined this was some miscalculation of a demon at Jesus' cross.
Miscalculation. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Explicate.
So obviously, it says that Satan incited the crowd when Jesus was taken away, and he was standing up at the front. There was Jesus, and there was Barabbas, and Barabbas was actually a lot of people think of him as a thief, but actually he was an insurrectionist, which was the Romans had taken over. And the Romans wanted to instill fear, and they didn't want you to revolt. So what they would do is they would randomly crucify people along the road, sort of keep fear in the hearts of the people, so people wouldn't try to fight against them. They would just kind of accept the Roman way of living, and Rome kind of let them do their own thing a little bit in a way, while at the same time following under Rome's rule. Well, there were people, the insurrectionists, that wanted to overthrow the Roman Empire. And so they would randomly kill soldiers and stuff like that. So they were actually, while they're a danger element because they're running around with weapons, they were still for the people in a sense, because they would take out the soldiers that were going and terrorizing their families. So you have Jesus and you have Barabbas, and Jesus had been going around healing their cities, casting out demons from the demon-possessed, freeing people. And so they were presented with these two possibilities. One is someone who brings death and one that brings life. And the people, it says that the crowd was incited, and that the devil was basically inciting them to say, we want Barabbas. Mm-hmm. So anyway, Jesus goes, they beat him, they put him on a cross, and you could imagine that if the devil is inciting this, he doesn't realize that when Jesus went to the cross, Jesus said that the last enemy to be destroyed was death. And that when Jesus went to the cross, his life wasn't taken from him, but he gave his life. So you could just imagine this sort of, it's a lesser being, obviously much lesser than God, who's the this demon who believes that what he's doing is actually going to accomplish we can kill God, which you can't do. Jesus gives up his life, and then 3 days later he calls himself back up from the grave, showing he has power over death, and also the fact that he died for the sins shows that he also has power to forgive sin. So when I was reading it, it literally you couldn't recognize him. That's how badly he was beaten. And between the beatings and the cross and everything along the way, there wasn't a lot of skin intact. So when it says a terror unleashed that you have never seen reveals the flesh beneath, to bleed you forever is my only dream as I slowly peel off your skin. So you could see this demon or devil figure wanting to peel off the skin of Jesus, thinking that he could actually stupidly kill God, but you can't. And then screaming, which I that's when it was kind of well, that didn't really work, because it says that Jesus, he didn't go to the cross screaming, that he was, well, it says silent, but I don't think it means radio silence.
Right.
But certainly it switched when it got to, I can taste your fear. Jesus was not afraid. Would you say he was afraid?
How could you say he wasn't afraid?
I don't believe that he was. Never believe. Why would you say he was afraid? I could say that he was saying, if there's another way, let it pass from me, but I wouldn't have imagined that was fear.
He began to be sorrowful and greatly distressed.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you could put distress and fear together.
Yeah. Distress would be a very extreme form of fear, I would say.
That's so sad. I never really thought of it like that.
What?
Well, Jesus being, because it says, for the joy that was set before him, he endured the cross. Yep. So I guess when that verse gets read, I imagine that he's looking forward. Okay, for instance, when I'm delivering a baby, there's so much pain, but you look forward to the baby at the end of it. But it doesn't mean it doesn't make the fear go away. Right? Yeah, you're not.
You're experiencing both. You're experiencing both concurrently.
Yeah.
So,
but when it got to that point, I was like, okay, well, that's a no. But yeah, I could see that. But then when it got to the end and it was talking about pleasure, pain, disease, then it sort of sounded like a end of the world type situation, where there's sort of they have different situations. Well, this one would be one of those disease end of the world that peels your skin, is what I got.
That makes That makes some sense. What if God is just a narcissist and everything he says in the Bible about himself is just to boost his self-esteem because
he's the nerd who gets bullied by all the other powerful gods.
Okay. So, well,
Good
one
question, Jet.
one is that Yahweh bullies the other gods, not the other way around.
And mocks them as well.
And mocks them incessantly. Like, for example, the 10 plagues in Egypt.
Yep.
Those weren't random plagues. Those were the gods of the Egyptians. They had a god of the Nile. They had the sun god, obviously, etc., etc. So,
And then the prophet, when he was basically like, okay, we're going to test your God and we're going to test your God.
Right.
And then he's like, well, perhaps your God is sitting on the toilet.
Right.
And that's why he hasn't arrived to...
Yahweh has been bullying these niggas.
Yeah.
He's been signing these dudes, bro.
Yep.
So, no, that's not true.
Even when Jesus came, like what he said to the religious leaders, he was like, if I had said that, I would be a liar, like you.
Like you. Lying ass.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say who he said it to. Read Gospel of John.
Yep.
Gospel of John chapter 8, man. Do what you got to. Yahweh getting bullied by Odin is a hilarious thought, though. Yeah, I mean, look. As I said, I believe that those gods are real, that they have ontology somewhere in a dimension somewhere. I really believe that. When we first started the channel, I never used to say demons. I would say dark intelligence.
Yep.
Remember that?
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's interesting too when you bring the cross into it because it says omen of wrath. I think that's like one of the most undertaught things in Christian theology. It's actually really interesting. So prior to Jesus dying on the cross and taking your sins, God has to punish you. But there's a sense in which if he punishes you, now he has to punish the demons because he's a just God. So God can't play favorites. He can't say, oh, you're going to forgive me and not forgive this person, or vice versa because it's outside of your nature, blah, blah, blah. And so that's how they catch God in this conundrum where God has to forgive them. See what I'm saying?
Say it again?
Because he didn't come through the way that he wanted. In other words, he's an omen of wrath.
Yeah.
Because the God can forgive us and he doesn't have to forgive them.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So it's like, as long as we were guilty and under the sentence of death, they could kind of go, ha.
Oh, yeah.
And you see it when Jesus shows us the demon says, you're going to punish us before the time. Because they're saying, hey, there's all these people out here. And so what happens is, the devil, if I'm the devil, I feel like I've got God by the junk because it's like, hey, you're too just to just punish us and not punish them. And then God's like, well, watch, hold my beer. I'm going to become one of them, live a perfect life, take their punishment. So now I am able to judge you. So there is a sense in which the resurrection became the omen of wrath to them.
Yeah.
Because it solidified God can now justly condemn you while at the same time saving the humans.
And it puts us in a different position where it says we will judge angels.
Right. I don't think, Jet, that you're I don't think that you're saying anything crazy. I think these are good questions. But that's what God is telling you, and I meant gods that we don't even know about. And our God is only the God of this universe, and this is just a ghetto of all other universes. That's such a really interesting thought. I definitely see what you're saying. The God of the Bible makes it really easy because he claims to be the Lord over everything, over all things. And without him, nothing was made that has been made. So it doesn't matter what dimension you're in.
Yeah.
Yahweh rules supreme.
Yep.
In the theology.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what do you got for this one?
So yeah, I mean, I think ultimately at the end, like it was a cool thought to go through with because at first, like, I was horrified because it sounded like, I was like, oh no, this is one of those stalkers and they're peeling people's skin, you know what I mean? Like some true crime situation, Jeffrey Dahmer. Yeah. And then as it progressed, like I said, I kind of like switched it where I was like, wow, this would really fit with like some, stupid demon thinking that he was going to actually win up over Jesus, which would never happen. But then in the end, I picked that it was actually like a sort of, when they, what do they call those? You have like the bomb that like sets off some disease in an area. Basically like what they said COVID was at one point.
Chemical warfare? Biochemical warfare.
Biochemical warfare. Yeah. That's what it kind of reminded me of. I will always hear your screams, pleasure, pain, disease. So I took it as your skin is peeling off because the disease that's been dropped there, the biochemist, what'd you call it? Bio what? like the bombs that are like some diseases dropped.
Some biological
Biological
weapons.
warfare.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's what I got from it. I liked this one, the 2000, the after one's better than the before. And we're talking about thrash. This one was heavier. There was, for some reason, I could hear the different layering in the music a little bit better than the other one. And I don't know, I just vibed with this one better. This one's a 9.2 for me.
Hunter, you're wrong. Roman Catholics do not think that God would be just if there was no cross. Anselm's satisfaction view is not in a different universe than penal substitution. Penal substitution is the entire Mosaic economy, especially in the book of Leviticus. So that's not a Protestant doctrine. That's just the Bible. And no knowledgeable Roman Catholic is going to deny that God has a system by which he forgives sins, and the cross is at the fulcrum. I really liked it, but I'll tell you the big thing about this song that was really unique is they stacked up all those riffs at the beginning.
Yeah.
And those riffs were heavy as hell. And this is why I described the riff as like extremely confrontational.
Yep.
Like that opening set of riffage was like extremely confrontational. Okay. It was a confrontational opening.
Yeah.
And like you knew from the beginning, like, yo, it's about to get real. So I really, really enjoyed that aspect of the song. Probably went maybe 11 seconds a little bit too long. A little bit of like copy paste almost with the riff. A little bit, but nothing significant enough to where it would hurt the. What do you got?
I give it a 9.2.
Kellen Dross, what did you give it?
Jet, our own children have told us that our religion was BS at different points. Nothing offends us. We weren't offended with our kids. You know, they came around, they came out of it. But yeah, like nothing offends us when people ask questions and stuff. Seriously.
Well, that makes me happy when people ask.
Yeah. It's interesting.
At least folks
too.
are thinking. She's like, wait a second. What kind of dude keeps telling everybody to worship him? 9.2. Dumbness.
You gave it a 9.2 as well?
No. Kel did because he's not a Christian. I'm gonna give this one a 9.6. I actually liked it. I would have given it a higher score. The riffage at the beginning was a pinch too long, guys. Pinch. By the way, there's a band that we reviewed a couple days ago, and they put a comment on the thing. I forgot to tell you.
Oh, really? That's cool.
All right, guys, we're going to do a commercial break. We'll see you the other side of the break. I gave it a 9.6. She gave it a 9.2. And Kellen Dross, as we know, gave it a 9.2 because he's not a real Christian. Okay.
You know, there should be like whoever, if a band comments on the song that we reacted to, if the band themselves comments, then, I mean, as long as it's one of the bigger bands, then maybe the person gets a point.
I'm with that. That makes sense.
Yeah. So if you see a band commented on your stream you paid for or your song you paid for, send us a picture of it. All right, you guys. Emperor is up next, but we're gonna hit a commercial first. Hit that commercial. Hit that like button.
Yeah, Hunter. What you want to do is get materials from Roman Catholics themselves, right? Like credentialed Roman Catholics.
Yep.
This was not the first one to introduce that view. The doctrine of penal substitution. Doctrine of penal substitution was all through the intertestamental period prior to even the penning of the New Testament. So, like I'm glad you're on the search now. Step it up a little bit and get some quotables, right? That's where you're gonna make all your money. Okay, I will banish Vin's scorecard. You will do no such thing, sir. What I will do is banish you from not seeing a commercial, Dwayne.
I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at sori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch, indeed, and y'all shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener.
Actually, babe, the lyric link is genius. And
Allah Akbar.
that always adds in that extra.
There's no other lyrics? Okay, what's the name
No,
of the
but
song?
that adds in it.
What is the name of the song?
I'm sending you this thing.
Emperor.
And there's the picture. Emperor. And the name of the song is Cosmic Keys to My Creations and Times. Okay. Okay, so while you're getting that, can you throw me the timestamp?
Timestamp is 55:40.
So 56.
Uh-huh.
Alrighty, let's see. This is from the True Cult, whose leader is Neil. Shout out to Neil.
Neil, shout out to the big homie.
Neil has been with us for quite some time. He spends almost every birthday with us, actually.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's check it out. Let's see. With our most recent vote says, are they DJs? They're alliance leaders.
Alliance leaders.
With our most recent vote, we decided to have a double feature of a song. To showcase the evolution of the band. Okay. I asked our members to submit a song from a band's earliest material and a song from a band's most recent material to see how much the band's sound changed between releases. I love it when you guys do this. Emperor was a band selected to showcase this evolution. The first song we're featuring is from their debut full-length, The Night Side Eclipse, released in 1994. So this is Emperor, Cosmic Keys to My Creations and Times.
All right, here we go. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. Start spreading the news. Y'all don't know that song?
I'm leaving today.
Is that what that is? Yeah, I think that is it. All right, here we go. Cosmic Keys to My Creations and Times. Losers, let's do it. Yes, Vicky! Yes!
Emperor. This one is Cosmic Keys to My Creations and Times. Interesting. You know what it reminded me of? That theory about the UAPs going into the water.
What do you mean?
And
what do you mean by theory? I mean, we have it on camera. On theory. The only theory is how they're doing. How are they achieving transmedium travel?
Yeah.
You know, because that's supposed to deny the laws.
Yeah, it's just hard to believe anything now because of CGI. Like, I'm like, yeah, it's probably,
True.
you know, but
True.
the government could lie to us about the entire thing, and how would we know? I mean,
That's
how
true.
would we know?
That's true. That
Because they've been telling us we're all fools. You know, anybody that believed that or saw it, like, they ruined people's lives.
Yeah.
Like, ruined them.
One dude killed
ruined
himself.
families.
One dude killed himself. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And some people just kind of disappeared. So, you know, there's a lot of weird shit going on around that stuff. And then you have, like, now all of a sudden they're coming out and they're saying they've been seeing stuff and it's reported by people in the government or, you know,
I just
and they said it on the Senate floor.
I just bought that new
book.
Lulazana book
Yeah.
we're going to listen to on our walk and shit. Like,
yeah.
there's a lot of really kooky, weird shit going on.
I gotta plug this into
And
the speaker.
one of the things that's odd to me about this whole UAP thing is that our government has been mocking all of us for.
Yeah.
You have so many people. I remember like the first conversation we had about it. Like you mocked me immediately.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
you're
I
laughing at me
did.
immediately.
We were walking through Walmart. I remember.
Yes, that's one of like the tactics that gets used in intelligence in order to influence behavior. It worked very well against in the Middle East.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, but it worked extremely well. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going on as far as
It's
like
weird, though. I mean, it's weird.
yeah, like Lou Elizondo, like literally. This is coming out tomorrow, but he says that one of the people that he was interviewing claimed that he had been abducted by one of these aliens and that they put something in his arm, you know, whatever. And then the doctor who took it out of his arm said that the thing was trying to run away from him.
Stop it. Like
So-
on, what's
so
the thing?
it was a machine, but it was wrapped in some sort of bio whatever. And the doctor who was trying to extract it was saying the thing was running, it was displaying intelligence. And, you know, some
You
little
remember-
nanobot.
You remember on, what's that? I can't believe it. The Matrix. Remember they injected him with something
Yes.
and it's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a machine, but it was running.
Yeah.
They kill it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They,
Like,
they have to extract it.
yeah,
Pretty
and
disgusting.
this is a really interesting black
Yeah,
metal
it's so weird.
song
It's
because
like-
he's talking about the moon and the stuff. Like he wants more than just the
Yeah.
limitations of being on Earth.
Yep.
I will realize planets ages old, created by a ruler with a crown of dragon claws, arrived with the Stargate, a king among the wolves in the night, an observer of the stars.
Yeah.
So he just wants to get out of, you know, the world he's in and go to another world and experience, you know, crowns made of dragon claws and things like that, an observer of the stars. You know, people talk about that with the whole, like, what do you call that thing when you go off into space in your mind or whatever? Astral projection or whatever.
Yeah.
Which I still think is just... Ooh.
Then how are people able to go and get answers?
I don't know. I think
And
there's...
how is that different than the person that says, like, I feel like isn't that some people can do that, like, on command, while other people it would take a drug, like, I mean, psilocybin or different types of drugs where it puts them in another place.
Mm-hmm.
And they're interacting with beings that it's weird.
Yeah.
It's just weird. I don't know. I believe people can engage
In the 80-year history of
part.
modern... Go.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What kinds of beings are existing at the depths of my lakes? Surely must be an evil race with no friendly thing can live in such depressive waters. This one, okay, so that's the line that made me think about, you know, the UAPs and, you know, the Loch Ness Monster type situation, the, you know, all those sort of question marks that everybody mocked. It kind of makes you start saying, well, yeah, but what, I mean, what is even so weird about the Loch Ness Monster? It's some big giant thing under the water that's like...
I don't understand why the Loch Ness Monster... I don't understand why Bigfoot is like a myth, and I don't understand why the Loch Ness Monster is a myth. Like, we believe in dinosaurs. Like,
what are we talking about?
We all believe in
here?
dinosaurs, right? Alligators were around during that whole period. Like, how is that a problem?
I don't know. I did used to think, it was an issue.
What is it? Like, we know less than 10% of what's going on in the ocean?
That's what I'm saying.
Somebody said we know more about the moon than the ocean.
That's so wild.
And it's really interesting because the whole Tic Tac UFO, the most famous one, it actually did not start out as a above ground UFO. Actually, what they saw when they looked down was the water was being troubled. And then when they went down to investigate, they saw the Tic Tac floating above the water, but the water was churning like mad. And then when we put his eyes on the Tic Tac device, it basically did one of these numbers, and they just kept, and then it shut off, and it's like, okay. But it originally actually started in the water.
Yeah.
And somebody was saying that Tic Tac was a distraction
for something else.
For whatever the hell was going on under the surface of that water.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's true, like because that's the first thing they saw was the water getting troubled. They went down and checked it, and he thought a plane had crashed because like the distance between point A and point B, and this thing is churning like this, was about the size of a plane. And gosh. They go. That's weird. He went down like thinking he's going to do some sort of recovery, and then the Tic Tac comes into view, and then he goes to engage it, and it does one of these kinds of things, right? So it's like, okay, bro, okay, like, so yeah, it could be in there, it could have been the entire time that it was an ocean-based type of thing, and then now it's, what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I hear you. But then at the same time, if you just read that, it sounds so poetic. And if you think about it like as in the depths of my lakes, he's talking about himself.
Right.
And he says, what kinds of beings are existing in the depths of my lakes? They surely must be of an evil race, for no friendly thing can live in such depressive waters.
Right.
And then it becomes like himself. Something different, and it's just deep and like,
it's interesting.
Very pretty sounding too.
Yeah. When he says beings in the plural in the deeps of his lakes, that's true. Like you could take that literally as like what's going on under there, but you could also
himself. You
could also humanize it, which is why it says no friendly thing can live in such depressive waters. But he refers to himself as a plural. What kinds of beings are existing in the depths of my lake? So it's like that came out like a couple of years ago. People were saying they had no internal dialogue, and all of us were like, "What?" I still don't even understand how that works. Like that you can't have that you don't have it. How do you not have an internal dialogue?
The thing is, I'm the type of person where until you prove something to me, it's very difficult for me. You'd think I wouldn't even be a Christian because of that, but well, I feel like Christianity's been proved to me though, time and time again. But like when people say stuff like that, I don't know. I can't
say stuff like what?
Well, I can't remember where it's gonna go with that because I got distracted thinking about. It must have been funny for me to say that if something doesn't get proved to me, it's hard for me to believe it. Mm-hmm. You were saying something and I was responding to that, but
all these landscapes are timeless, and this is just all part of the cosmos. But all is mine and past and future.
Oh, the fact that people don't have an internal dialogue.
Right.
I think that's. I can't even believe it. I feel like you're just not focusing on it. It's so hard for you to believe that somebody has no internal dialogue.
I know, it was a big thing. I couldn't believe it. But
especially because for some people, like your entire life it can be destroyed or very disruptive based on the information or the conversation that's going on inside of your head.
Okay.
So the idea that some people could be conversationless up there, like, I mean, it's just weird. What's up?
Here is also a planet similar to the moon, but its phases are only one, and it's the most powerful for all and ever. There passes no light without the bark of the wolf. It's interesting. Like, there's not a lot of devil stuff in here. Like, this dude is a legendary black metal guy. I love what they did with the synth. The synth was so inspiring.
The vocals behind.
I wish there was more. Like, I'm like straight cheese. Like, we've got a song that we're working on with the big homie Sesso. Shout out to Sesso, and it's like the beautifulest thing in the world. Very, very sugary. A lot of caffeine. A lot of cavities. All these landscapes are tied. I just keep going back to that line. Like, he's trying to find some ways to put himself together. He kind of refers to himself in the
I will
plural.
realize I existed before myself.
Mm-hmm. So, like, that's a very interesting way of self-reflection or self-understanding. Is you get to a point where you realize that you never understood yourself. It's kind of a weird thing. Someday I will start to understand English.
Okay, hold on. So the Bible talks about knowing God. Eternal life is to know God.
Yep.
So I've always like wondered, like, did we exist before we existed? But isn't there a sense in which we did? If God is eternal and he was forever around, and if for us eternal life is knowing God, if an eternal God knows you, he doesn't learn something or come up with an idea. So you are forever known by an eternal being.
Right.
So in a sense what? Were you always there?
Always there? Where? Yeah, in the future?
Well, you were always in the mind of God. So it's not like you essentially existed even though you weren't in physical form.
Well, yeah, and obviously when we talk about the mind of God, then we're also talking about the natural world as well. Like, all the natural world reflects the mind of God as well. So I definitely see your point.
But is that heretical? Like, because that almost sounds like, I don't believe, we're not eternal like God is eternal because we forever exist because he...
Right.
You know, we rely fully on him. But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get it. I love Kel. Black metal was never really about worshiping the devil so much as it was hatred toward Christian oppressors and missionaries. Well, I mean, Jesus told us to be missionaries, though.
And Jesus said, what you do to the least of these, you do to me. And he also said, like, when Paul in the Bible was going on, he was killing all the Christians, and Jesus met him on the road when he was going. He said, Paul, why are you persecuting me? Or Saul, he was Saul at the time. Mm-hmm. Saul, why are you persecuting me? Is what Jesus said. So you can't persecute God's people without it being against him. So like, maybe that's true. Maybe they weren't directly trying to go after God, but that is what happens.
But for me, like, even if they were trying to go after God, that still, in my mind, doesn't necessarily make them anti-God. I just think, like, the way that Christians react to shit, you know, is just, on the one hand, it's hilarious, you know, because all the superstition and all the rest of it. Yeah, there's this book called The Scandal of the Evangelical Mind, and he was just talking about how we're not very good at thinking quietly and deeply and critically about ideas. The scandal of the evangelical.
Really? Oh, the evangelical mind.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
I mean, and the other thing that we've said a bunch of times is, like, I just said that, but on the flip side, as wisdom would have it, I do think that the church in some ways has persecuted, like, for instance, Nergal, when he was saying,
in some ways,
no. Let me just finish. Remember that when he got sick?
Yeah, we got leukemia.
Yeah,
he could have died.
Yeah, and instead of saying, we're gonna pray for you, we're gonna pray that, like, God heals you, it was like this.
They should have shut down that whole country to pray and fast for that boy.
Can you imagine?
Because they're like hardcore Christian, apparently, in Rome. I mean, in Poland.
Yeah.
They should have said, this guy who's been, disrespecting God might end up meeting him.
Yep.
And we don't want that to happen in the current state he's in. That's what you're supposed to do if religion works. That's what I like about the Bible boogies. Like, we don't have everything down. Nobody's perfect. We got Buddhists in there, we got atheists in there, and we're all trying to, like, band together and apply the lessons that we learned in the week, Peter, I'm not gonna share it because what happens in boogie stays in the boogie, but like,
I was like, yo, chill.
I'm like, okay, like, this is the way it's supposed to be done. Mm-hmm. And then they had that little chat on the side, and it was this Canadian family, and they had this homeless guy just move in with them, and then his girlfriend moved in with them, and he was like, why are you doing this? Because his canoe was broken. And so he had to stay there until he got it fixed. It was like a month or whatever. Mm-hmm. No charge. She was washing his dishes, all type of craziness. And he's just like, why did you do this for me? And so that was posted because everybody's like, oh, image of God, like. So it's fun. Like, it's crazy. But on the other side, like, we really fucked people up in the 80s over this shit, bro. Like, I'm talking about evangelical Christians. I'm not even talking about Catholics. I'm not talking about our team specifically. The whole panic. What do you call it? The satanic panic and all the rest of it. Like, definitely there were some, Christians of every form and stripe, but the main driver of that mythology and that craziness and that horrible, that was evangelical, was us. And they didn't just, like, make life hard for teenagers. Like, these people's lives were ruined or paraded in front of the camera, all type of shit. This is before Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah.
So I know, like, people, Jet's generation, but, like, it's very odd to see yourself on television. It's very strange to see yourself on TV if you didn't grow up in an environment like this. But people are so used to getting videotaped now that they don't see, like, the thing. But, like, that is a massive thing to end up on, you know what I'm saying, having all your business out there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's no question that the church has taken that concept, go be fishers of men, a bit too far at times in history. Yeah, they took that shit literally, because when you go fishing, you're going fishing to devour them.
Look at it there.
Right?
Oh.
So they took that one, I completely agree with you. Hell. And look, I'm never going to be against my people. I love my people. Like, evangelicals, that's our team. But the facts are the facts. I just like this song, though, because, like, I also have I think a lot of us, I was watching Brianna Joy Gray, I think is her name, and they were talking about this UFO disclosure stuff. And she said something really instructive, because she was like, they were talking about we don't have any proof, blah, blah, blah. She's like, I'd like to see one of these aliens and jump on their ship with them. Like, if they invited me to go, I would go. Because shit is just so fucked up in the world right now. Like, we got Ukrainian friend. Like, honestly, like, I don't talk about the Ukraine situation a lot, because it kills me to think that these people have almost literally the exact same DNA, same great-grandparents, all type of shit. And they're out here wholesale massacring each other in this bitch. Like, that kills me. That's hard for me to think about. Because,
It's
you
like
know,
Chicago
just how important family is, you know? And, like, look, everybody understood the position I took relative to the Ukraine situation. But it's like, damn, man, like, them civilians... If you're a praying person, man, we gotta pray for some relief for these people, bro. It just sucks, because it's like anyway, I'm gonna get, this song, I gotta say, this song dragged out a little bit for me. I loved the synth in the back. I want to steal that. Sonically, it's interesting, like, vocally, to me, I forgot who said it. I think it was Ben that said it. But to me, it was kind of just like a monotonous, you know what I'm saying? Dwayne was saying that too. Like, I'm okay with, like, screamo or whatever. But, I don't know. It is a little too much, a little over the top. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I liked the background vocals with, like, it sounded like female vocals that were sort of, like, rising. It sort of gave it some depth.
Mm-hmm.
I also liked, even you call it the tremolo. I liked that too. But I agree with you that the vocal style, like, I can't throw in with that vocal style. There's some parts in it, like, there are very few parts. There are some parts that I like, but they're so few and far between. I don't know if this is an acquired taste or if this is like, you're never gonna, you know, some people are never gonna like country music, and especially like the twangy country music, and I just don't know if I'm ever gonna really like that style of vocal style. But we're about to listen to a second song by them, which is The Tongue of Fire, and this is where they are now. So,
hold on.
I'm curious to see. Well, let me finish. I'm curious to see what will happen, whether I like the vocals, if his vocal style evolves into something that, you know, we can like more, or if it pretty much stays the same. So I'm very curious about that. So you're watching something before we rate it?
Okay, so I'm gonna rate this solid 9.2. What did you give it?
Wow, that's pretty high. I think I'm gonna give this one a 8.9. 9. I'll give it a 9.
Okay, guys.
Solid 9.
Don't be mad at me, but Kamala Harris is speaking right now. Dwayne told us to watch it, so I'm gonna put Kamala on for a little bit.
Yeah, but what did Ben say? No, it's not Ben's stream. Oh, this is the alliances. Are they okay with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Second gentleman. Okay, it doesn't look like she's currently speaking right now. So we'll try again if she. But I gave Shorty her respect. I thought she was there, but she wasn't there. So you can't say I'm biased, everybody. All right, guys, we got one more song for you. It's Emperor again.
The Tongue of Fire.
The Tongue of Fire. Whose selection was this?
True Cult again.
Why don't you guys let me in your Discords, by the way? So, like, I can jump in people's Discords, but then, like, it's on read only for me, so I can't comment. I've been kicked out of my own church. Like, what are you doing?
Funny.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's a good one. I forgot who it was. Some alliance or something. I was like, oh shit, that's really cool. And then, nah.
You may not speak here. All right, so
Yeah.
this is what the Alliance has to say. The second half of our double feature on Emperor is taken from their 2001 album, Prometheus, The Discipline of Fire and Demise, which is their newest full-length which is their newest full-length album. A few years after this release, can you say this?
Ishan, I think it's
the vocalist and guitarist for Emperor started releasing material under his moniker. While Emperor have not written any new material in the last 23 years, they have periods where they come back together to go on tours or play festivals before going on another hiatus. That's cute, actually. Metal Archives considers them an active band at the moment. That's cool.
Okay, all right.
And
I like that.
Their art, it's interesting. Oh, I see. Okay, it wasn't their art. Because before was a band picture, so we're seeing what they look like before and after.
Yeah, I was trying to jump on them things and like schedule meetings and shit. We're supposed to have a Patreon meeting every to
yeah, you gotta subscribe on
to
Patreon.
help us
what
with
are you doing?
No, to help us with season 3. I've been trying to get in contact with y'all.
No, they're saying you need to jump on Patreon because nobody gets in the Discord without being on Patreon.
I'm in the Discord. They got me as read only, so I can't even talk.
I think he's just teasing.
No, he wasn't teasing. I'll show you right now.
No,
it's
right
read only.
here, where he's telling you have to get a monthly subscription to get in there. That's what he's joking.
He hasn't subscribed to Patreon.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, my bad. All right, tongue of fire, you
Get
whites.
too literal here.
Tongue
All right,
of fire,
go.
you whites. Let's do it.
Some white.
It's okay if I watch you, only if I'm drunk as fuck. Okay, I pretty much know who that one is. Archero will fix it. Okay, Archero, fix it, bruh. I thought there was some racism happening. I was like, what the fuck?
What is it?
My people have turned against me.
Oh no!
They're like, we've had enough of the black metal.
Channel's
Get out.
over.
Get
the
out.
night's over.
Yeah, get out.
Let's go.
All right, sorry. Something about the tongue. Let's do it. Tongue of fire. Let's do it.
Tongue of fire.
Whoa. Emperor! nothing like metal melody, man. It just. You remember that summer? You remember that summer we used to run all the time?
Yeah.
And I used to hydrate with the Red Bull, but I used to love like running and being completely like thirsty, dying of thirst. Like I love pushing myself, and then like the satisfaction of the drink was like, yes, Pinky.
That's how I felt about the water.
It was so cool.
Wow, this song, man, was really interesting.
He's saying a lot of deep shit.
Yeah, he is. He is. It was interesting because he starts out the beginning. He's like, "Teach me the tongue of fire." What do you get from that?
Well, in the context of this song, I looked at it like his real emotions inside, like what's really going on with him. Because he's saying it's basically hard to, so I can cry out loud and ventilate my wrath and my passion, or else my coil will blister and decay. So it's like he has to get that out of himself, or he'll die. Kind of like a Jeremiah type situation. How did you interpret it?
Well, for me, it's the tongue of fire. Again, I can't separate it from Christianity, especially not tonight. So there's in the New Testament after Jesus. Okay, so you have Jesus dying on the cross. He rose from the dead. And then he tells them, he's like, "Look, I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna send somebody else, and that one's gonna be your teacher, your comforter, blah blah blah." So the people go hide. They go hang out they didn't hide, but they go hang out while they're waiting for this one that Jesus was going to send to them. And then it says that they heard like rushing winds, and it talks about like tongues of fire, and basically they get this special language that they can talk to God with, and it's referred to as tongues of fire.
That's
sometimes
true. That's true. The Acts 1, Acts 2.
So, yeah.
Acts 2. Yeah.
Sometimes like these people that are in like the like sort of darker bands actually have like a past in Christianity or in some sort of religion. I mean, I'm not putting this on him that this is what he's saying, but that is what I thought of. Teach me the tongue of fire that I might set the world ablaze, for it is cold, and this blindness can no longer give me shelter. So there's also the concept in the Bible of if you don't have Jesus, you can't actually see, because Jesus gives you spiritual eyes, and it talks about blindness. And so he says, and this blindness can no longer give me shelter. And it made me think of like when people will live out their lives dead set on a certain lifestyle, and they're saying, I don't need anything with religion, I'll create my own, I'll worship my own gods, and I don't need Jesus, I don't need any of that, because all of that holds with it too much baggage, too much hypocrisy. And then they go living their life, and it's like they end up finding themselves, if they're lucky, in a place where it's so difficult and so dark that they say, okay, this is not working. And then it puts them on a path to find something else. It's rock bottom and stuff like that people talk about. So he says, and this blindness can no longer give me shelter. Teach me the tongue of fire that I might cry aloud my wrath and my passion, or else my coil will blister and decay. So at that part, I think he's saying like, whatever's happening with me, if I can't cry aloud with this tongue of fire, like I'm gonna die. I'm dying here. Then he says this crazy, crazy part. The soul is never silent but wordless. And I was like, yo, held imprisoned in a cursed tomb. I think he's talking about himself. And I think that he's talking about that place that you can get to where there's so much inner turmoil, and the voices and the questioning and everything gets so loud, whether that's your own soul or it's darknesses or dark intelligences that you've had too much contact with and give way too much open doors to, because we're spiritual beings at the end of the day, and like that part of your spirit is going to connect to the spiritual. So it's really a decision of which spirit you want to connect yourself with. You can connect yourself very easily to dark spirits because they have a vested interest in deceiving you and making you think that you're in power of the situation. I was watching this video of this girl, and she had like this candle, and she was like really like trying to like channel the candle up, and then she like went like this. Her hand wasn't touching it, but then the candle went out, and she like was flipping out. She's like, that's right. She was basically like, motherfucker, blah, blah, blah. And I thought to myself, I've seen people not doing that, but I've seen people who believed that because they were experiencing some sort of power from their own being, that they were alone in that, or that they could control the spirits behind that power. And then it only took time before they got so deep into it that there was no way to turn around. It's like when you get too far down a dead end and the path keeps narrowing in on you.
Yeah.
And it narrowed in on them, and then there was no way to turn back around, and then they find themselves in a really dark. So when he says this, the soul is never silent but wordless. It's that point that you get to, because I do think that those dark intelligences, they silence you in ways that no one else can. It sort of grips you and constricts you and makes you, because remember, like, God makes it so that you're made in the image and likeness of God. So you're like exalted to this really high position. And so the opposite, the enemy of your soul, is going to do the opposite, and he's going to degrade you down to a beast. Because remember, in the garden, he was this high angel, but then he's reduced down to this beast, this slithering being that's, you know, worthless, and essentially, but still has some bit of power, especially with his tongue, because that's his big power point, is his lies. So when it says the soul is never silent but wordless, it's like he's been brought down to. If it's wordless, you would assume that there was silence, but it's not silent, but there's no words. And then he says, held imprisoned in a cursed tomb, which I think is his coil himself, wherein reflections never fade, never die, slowly maddened by the emptiness. And when he said reflections never fade, to me, that's like, you know, when you reflect on the years and the times and the conversations and the relationships and everything that's actually meaningful, because you can get caught up in the meaningless and feel like there's so much value in it. But there are times where, like, it's stripped away and, like, the only thing that's left is, like, what's actually super meaningful. And that's the people, that's your relationship with God. Yeah. But, like, your stuff, your car, your fights that you don't even remember what they were even about. You just remember that energy that they brought to the relationship, broken relationships, like, all that stuff. So, like, when reflections never fade, like, there's times where you can busy yourself at the club or you can go whatever, and you can, like, separate yourself from your reflections. But he's saying now you're at the point where you can't even do that. And when you're at that point, you're slowly maddened by the emptiness that is you and is that tomb that is him. And it says left to perish in the ever dark coil, which again is himself, because at the end we hear you kind of figure that out by the end. He said, yet always alert in its slumber, scorned by the drops of life, piercing through the surface, and it screams. Like, it just seems like there's no, like, there's bits of light. I got that there was, like, bits of light, so there's something, but never being able to really get to it, being trapped and never being able to get on the other side of the bars, seeing that there's something over there, but never being able to actually get it, and just being tormented within yourself. But then remembering this vision, this conversation, this sermon, this something that you didn't want from when you were a kid, and saying, you know what? Maybe those people have something. Maybe they know something, because they're not feeling like this. And so then you start to question. Then it's like, well, if it was true, and so that was like, this is the whole story I gave. If it was true, you know what I mean? Like, well then, friggin', if you're, I mean, how black is that? You know what I mean? Like, how metal is that? I guess you could say that you have a tongue of fire.
The blackest metal.
You have a tongue of fire that, like, and he's talking about the whole. It's cold here, and it's true. That's what the Spirit of God does. It goes and it lights up. I don't know. So to me, it was a really kind of cool song. It seemed like a. When I'm reading it, it seemed like a mature way of looking at it, and like, or a self-aware way of looking at it, and saying, like, this is not the end all be all. Like, it's silent here. It's never silent, but it's wordless, imprisoned, cursed tomb, so yeah. What'd you get?
Yeah, like, when he says the soul is never silent but wordless, held in prison in a cursed tomb wherein the reflections never fade, never die, slowly maddened by the emptiness. It could be a literal tomb, or he could be talking about his body.
That's what I took the body, but
because again, we're talking about Gnosticism, docetic Gnosticism, which is what the early Christians were dealing with. They said that Jesus was never really truly a physical being, because he wasn't a real, because to them, the demiurge created all physical matter. And so to attach physical matter to Jesus to them would be
outlandish.
Right? Yeah. So the God who is responsible for the physical plane, they're all matter. Right? So if you look here, you see the same thing. He's in this situation, and this tongue of fire is going to set the world ablaze, which is kind of autobiographical, because that's exactly what happened, right? He went off through whatever he went through, turned to art, and used, tongues of fire. That's a way of expressing yourself. Mm-hmm. And then he set the world ablaze because he's in one of the most legendary bands of all time. And so, like, he took. This is almost, like I said, a little bit autobiographical. It's explaining to us why he does music.
Oh, okay.
He wants to set the world ablaze because it's cold.
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to inject some sort of life into, the system because it's cold out here. So if you really, really look at what he's saying lyrically, there's a lot of deep shit this man is saying.
Yeah, and he says, teach me the tongue of fire that I might cry aloud my wrath and my passion.
Right.
Okay, so you're saying if he can't produce his music and sing out like he does, then that's what's going to cause him to burst or decay, because he's going to hold his wrath and his passion inside, and he's too much. Like, there's just too much going on.
He uses his music as a means of doing that. He uses the music as the means of ventilation. So that's good. Titan and Warlock Hunter. Where is it? Oh, there was one. The soul is never silent. Yeah. Left to perish in the ever-dark coil, yet always alert in slumber, scorned by the drops of light piercing through the surface and it screams. So, looks right there that he's not going to let himself enter into the whole, God is going to keep me secure, that type of thing, because he's always practicing hypervigilance.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? He says, scorned by the drops of light piercing through the surface as it screams. The soul is never silent, but wordless. I love that line. That's my favorite line in the song. The soul isn't silent. It isn't silent, but it's wordless.
Yeah.
And that's pretty close to Romans 8, where it talks about the spirit intercedes with our spirit with groans that cannot be uttered.
Yeah.
In other words, that God is so in tune with your emotions and your prayers that if you're praying an anxious prayer, he's more anxious than you are. So it's
That's
really
so interesting.
Yeah.
Because it kind of makes you wonder, the gift of tongues that people, have, or some people do. If it's less so about the words and more about the soul or spirit that's communicated through that, like maybe the words are necessary for us because we use language like that, but
Right.
maybe what's being communicated through the soul and the spirit as those words are coming out of your mouth is actually the language toward God.
Mm-hmm. Agree. Hunter, 1 John was definitely written to counteract the Docetic Gnostics for sure. I take a rather early view on all the passages in the New Testament, so I might be a little bit variegated from the popular or whatever, but that's where that came from. So this guy has that line right there, the blindness can no longer give me shelter.
Yeah.
That was really interesting.
Yeah.
Because Kel was saying up above is the implication that he knows there's a God or something like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't hear you say that, but right here. So is the implication then that someone who is an atheist is then willfully blind? If you look here, he says, right, he says explicitly he can't be blind anymore.
And this blindness can no longer give me shelter.
Right.
He's saying it's not. Yeah.
Right. Which I'm assuming is one of those ignorance is bliss situations that went bad.
Leave that up there because I've got something to say about it too.
Yeah, it just looked like it went bad. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, Kel, it's actually that not that an atheist is then willfully blind, but it's that we are all born blind, and so that's the all being born blind, all being lost, all being sinners, all hating God, all wanting our sin over our pleasure and joy in God, or in freedom. Like all of those things apply to all of us. And then it's sort of this question like God calls you, you come. My sheep hear my voice, he said. So if you're blind, he's here to open the eyes of the blind, Jesus said, and to set the captives free. Like that's what his message was. He was here to heal the ones that needed healing. So if somebody refuses to see that they're blind, if somebody refuses to acknowledge their blindness, then they're not going to go to the doctor to get that fixed. And so that's why Jesus said, he came for the sick, or the people that can recognize that, you know what, I am blind, I am sick, I am in need of a savior, I am bogged down in feelings of guilt, I am a bad person. Like that's the people that Jesus came for. He didn't come for the people that thought that they were perfect and good, or that they could see, or that they were, there's these people that just think that they know all the mysteries of the universe and they throw God out the window, but they know everything and they're a God unto themselves and stuff like that. That's not the people that Jesus, when that person recognizes that their sight is actually blindness, then there's another path for them. But until you recognize your own blindness, you're gonna,
and the thing is, it says this blindness can no longer give me shelter.
Right. Right.
So that to me is him taking some sort of responsibility for participating in his own self-deception.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like anytime I see somebody who, in my view, is self-deceived, it always makes me nervous because that's the nature of deception, right? So like if you were self-deceived right now, how would you possibly know it? You see what I'm saying? Like, and that's why like I have certain people in my life, like Sori, you know, my older brother, that can give a counter narrative. And even if the counter narrative doesn't work for me, I know in my heart they love me. And so it keeps us sort of grounding instead of just like spinning off when you're just making, you know what I'm saying? So there's been a lot of that in our relationship, which I'm very, very grateful for. But yeah, man, it looks just like he wants to talk about his wrath. He wants to be able to ventilate his emotions and express himself. But he doesn't necessarily want to commit to some God who's going to rule his life and all the rest of it. But he's like, blindness can no longer give me shelter. Like ignorance is no longer bliss. Like, and it's true. Like some things, like once you see them once, you can't look away from them and it's over with. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just, whatever. And the other thing too, Kel, about like people being willfully deceived or whatever, it happens to us. It happens to us evangelicals. I mean, I'm not going to get into, the minutiae, but you know as well as I do that the folks on my team are not much of an improvement from the previous criticism. So we're in a lot of trouble. We're in a lot of trouble.
Neil.
In my opinion.
It rhymes. The way I was sitting, I just made my bum go numb.
That's right.
You're a poet. Yeah, so I actually liked, their first song I was not really a giant fan of. This one I liked a lot better.
Today or the first
today.
Emperor song?
The first song that we did today when we went to Then and Now.
Oh, okay.
So the Now, like, I'm definitely way more, I like where they went with their stuff. Even the vocal style, I feel like that he grew in that and it was more enjoyable. And just the content of this song, I don't know, man, it was so real because
he was truly trying to say some shit.
Yeah, he
really was.
I think that, like Christianity and walking with God is different than being in that complete blindness. But there are times, even in your walk with God, where you can get like this, where your soul isn't silent, it's wordless, and that whole like, it's sort of like dark night of the soul. And like literally what pulls me out of those times is prayer. So when he says, teach me the tongue of fire, like for me, it was like, I don't know. It was powerful. And I loved the honesty because, we were just talking about, I won't go into the details, I guess, right now, but that girl that was, going out to bat for basically men, and not protecting women in certain industries. And then, not that long later decides that actually it's really destructive to women, but doesn't say it publicly when all the other stuff is said publicly, so it's
Right.
I can't, that sort of like, something's destructive, but you're going to lie. I mean, there's whole movements where people will say it's healthy to be a certain way when it's completely not healthy to be that way and lie to this younger generation or people that are easily deceived. But like this level where he's saying held in prison, like he's being honest about it, slowly maddened by the emptiness.
Yeah, really sincere
and
shit.
That's the thing, when you talk about the cosmos or you talk about the beginning of all creation, like that was the Enuma Elish when that one it was a chaotic scene when creation was happening.
Creation was born out of chaos and wars between gods.
Yes, yeah. But the creation story, the God of the Bible, I mean, he doesn't fight with anybody. So he makes a decision that they're going to create, and the Father, Son, and Spirit, they begin to create together, and like this place is just coming. But he takes chaos and he orders it, and he brings it into order, and he causes the trees to create, seeds, and it forever hears his voice forever and for all time. Even like we were just listening to that guy in science, and he was talking about stuff coming from other stuff, but it wasn't like he didn't really have any good solid answers as to why. Like where did existence originate, and the hard problem of consciousness was still hard for him. Anyway, so I really like this one. This one's actually 9.7 for me. The lyrics really bumped it up a lot. So, did I say 9.7?
Yeah.
Okay, 9.7.
This was also the one where he went someplace vocally. He was like actually trying to hit a note, which I thought was crazy.
JB says it's playlist worthy.
Oh shit, yeah. So that to me was very fascinating because I didn't think that he. Not only did I not think he had it in him, but also like that he even wanted to have it in him. You see what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know that he had to like, yo, let me go here. You know what I'm saying? Because I've never heard anybody say, yo, he can go clean, he can go high clean. He looks like a dad that really loved Tolkien. What is Archero actually, Ishan?
Archero doesn't want to be doxxed.
I don't understand.
I don't know. Whenever the people say stuff, sometimes it
no, he says, wait, is Archero actually Ishan?
Don't dox me.
And he's like, don't dox me, bro. Okay, I see what happened.
Turns out. So yeah, I liked this one. It's a 9.7 for me on this one. What about you?
I was gonna give it a 9.7, but I gave the other one a 9.7, and I want that song to be number one for me because I like it. This is the second song.
Okay.
Second song on the record because it was so freaking heavy.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to go with a 9.4.
9.4. Okay. Yeah, I mean, shout out to the. I think it's really cool that they take breaks and then all of a sudden they're like, you know what, let's do it again.
Yeah.
And then they go back out. Like,
yeah.
It's really cool if you don't have to. I think when you have to keep going with something, it can change the way that you love it. But if you can take breaks and go back to it when it's something that's that engaging or something that takes you all over the place and is probably pretty exhausting. You know, you hear bands talk about how difficult it is. So for them to be able to take a break and then jump back in and out when they want to, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I wish all the bands were able to have a bit more variety like that, to make more as they could be home at different times more. But, you know, maybe some people like that on the road lifestyle. I know I don't.
No, she doesn't.
I do not. I like my home and my pots and pans.
Yeah, and your bed.
In my bed.
Yeah.
My own bed. All right, so that was our Alliance stream. Guys, thank you for coming through for it. We did have a stream tomorrow night, but it's actually been postponed to the beginning of September. Actually, it got it kind of switched around. It's not even going to be the Christians React. It's going to be a different type of stream, which you'll have to wait and see what that will be. But tomorrow night has been opened back up.
Yep. So if you have a movie or a DJ stream you want, let us know. We'll make it happen for y'all.
Yeah. Send us an email. Send us a message on Patreon. Whatever. Or if you are one of the few that has Vinny's number, do it that way. All right, you guys. Thanks for coming through, and thanks again to our patrons for sticking around with us.
Hell yeah.
Even though Vinny calls you losers.
I call everybody a loser.
I know.
That's not me. Okay? Anybody that's not me is obviously a loser.
So you never know how he's going to open the stream. Sometimes you're like, hello, you beautiful people. And then other times you're like, you losers.
Yeah, you losing Muslims.
No, for real. We really love you guys. We really appreciate all of the songs that you guys have brought to us over the
years. The years.
All right, you guys, we're about to take our walk up in this bitch.
Having said that, Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.